Your truck is supposed to be the one machine you can always count on, the thing that gets you to work, hauls your gear, and keeps your family safe. But for nearly 1 million Americans, General Motors just shattered that trust. That V8 rumbling under your hood, it might be a ticking time bomb. This February, GM was forced to recall more than 800,000 trucks and SUVs, Silverados, Sierras, Tahoes, Suburbans built between 2021 and 2024, and not because they wanted to. Federal regulators finally caught what GM had been hiding for years: engines that can suddenly seize without warning. No check engine light, no strange noises, just instant failure, sometimes at 70 miles per hour with your family on board. Imagine merging onto the freeway when your $60,000 truck turns into a powerless 7,500-pound brick with no brakes and no steering. That's not an inconvenience. That's life or death. And GM's solution? A thicker oil, a new cap, and a software tweak fixes that cost pennies per truck. But here's the real scandal. Court documents show GM engineers flagged these exact defects years ago. Executives knew the engines would fail. They even calculated how many would die on American highways. Instead of fixing the flaw, they chose a Band-Aid that would stretch engines just long enough to survive warranty periods. After that, it's your problem, not theirs. Do the math. Replacing a blown V8 costs $7,000 to $12,000. Multiply that by nearly 900,000 vehicles, and GM was looking at $7 billion in potential liabilities. Their quick fix? Less than Warschameyen, a former GM engineer, admitted the new oil spec isn't designed to solve anything. It's only there to delay catastrophic failure until after the warranty clock runs out. And this isn't an isolated case. In 2022, GM lost a major lawsuit for almost the same tactic-cheap fixes that pushed failures beyond warranty coverage. Now they're using the same playbook again, only this time with their flagship truck engines. What makes this even more infuriating? GM knows how to build reliable V8 South. The same architecture in the Corvette is bulletproof because it gets tighter machining and stricter quality control. For trucks, the vehicles Americans depend on, they cut corners to save money. The human cost is already showing. Drivers have reported terrifying highway shutdowns, near misses, and accidents. Parents stranded with kids in the back seat. Construction workers losing their livelihoods because their trucks can't be trusted. Dealers stuck between angry customers and a manufacturer offering fake fixes. And here's the most disturbing part. Evidence suggests this recall barely scratches the surface. Independent data shows failures in GM vehicles not even covered by the recall. That means millions more trucks could be rolling time bombs, and owners don't even know it yet. Why is this happening? Because GM has shifted to what insiders call warranty-centric engineering. In plain English, they design vehicles to last just long enough to survive the warranty. Not 200,000 miles like your dad's old Chevy, not the legendary reliability they advertise. Just long enough for the company to dodge the bill when engines fail. So what can you do? Get the recall service, even if it's inadequate. Document everything: repairs, noises, dealer visits. Consider extending your warranty if you're close to 60,000 miles. Join the class action lawsuits already forming. And most importantly, make your voice heard. Contact regulators, contact GM, and demand real fixes, not Band-Aids. Because at the end of the day, a truck should be the one thing you can count on. Right now, for almost 1 million families, that trust has been betrayed. If this opened your eyes, hit like and share it with every truck owner you know. And subscribe, because the truth about GM's next ticking time bomb is coming, and you'll want to hear it before it's too late. Your truck is supposed to be the one machine you can always count on. The tool that gets you to work, hauls your gear, protects your family. For generations, American trucks earned that trust. They were built to last, not just for 100,000 miles, but often double that with nothing more than basic maintenance. That promise has been broken, because for nearly 1 million Americans, the V8 engine under the hood of their Silverado, Sierra, Tahoe, or Suburban isn't a symbol of strength, it's a ticking time bomb. GM was forced into one of the biggest recalls in its truck history. Over 800,000 vehicles built between 2021 and 2024. And here's the shocking part. This wasn't a voluntary move. Regulators finally caught what GM has been hiding for years: engines that can seize without warning. No check engine light, no strange noise, just sudden death while you're barreling down the freeway. Picture it. You're merging onto the highway, an 18-wheeler in your rear view, when your $60,000 truck instantly becomes a powerless 7,500-pound brick. No acceleration, stiff steering, fading brakes, nothing but momentum carrying you into live traffic. That's not an inconvenience. That's a life-or-death scenario, and GM's fix: pour in a different oil, screw on a new cap, push a software update. A Band-Aid that costs less than $50 a truck, but the truth hiding underneath will make your blood boil. Internal documents, leaked through ongoing lawsuits, reveal GM engineers flagged these exact defects years ago. They knew the machining flaws in crankshafts and connecting rods would eventually lead to catastrophic failures. They even ran the numbers, calculating exactly how many engines would lock up on highways across America. And then, executives made a cold-blooded decision: fixing the problem properly would cost billions. So they rolled out a quick patch that stretched engine life just long enough to survive the warranty period. After that, you're on your own. Let's do the math. A proper engine replacement costs between $7,000 and $12,000. Multiply that by nearly $900,000 trucks and SUVs, and you're looking at more than $7 billion in liabilities, enough to wipe out GM's annual profit. Instead, they came up with a $50 solution designed not to fix the problem, but to delay it. A former GM powertrain engineer put it bluntly: the oil viscosity change isn't designed to solve anything. It just buys time. Maybe not for the life of the vehicle, but long enough to limp past the 60,000-mile warranty. After that, it's the customer's problem. And this isn't the first time. In 2022, GM lost a major lawsuit over defective piston rings that caused massive oil consumption. The jury saw through the same tactic ship Band-Aids to push failures. Beyond warranty, coverage and awarded hundreds of millions in damages. Yet here we are again, only this time the stakes are higher, the engine's bigger, the failures deadlier. So why do these engines fail? It comes down to precision, or rather, the lack of it. Microscopic machining flaws in crankshafts and connecting rods. Parts manufactured at GM's St. Catharines plant in Ontario live, critical surfaces rough when they should be mirror smooth. Oil films that should separate metal parts break down under stress. The result? Metal on metal, friction, heat, bearings destroyed. Engines locking solid in seconds. Independent mechanic Mike Rodriguez describes what he sees in his shop. When we tear down these engines, the damage is catastrophic. Rods fused to crankshafts. Bearing material completely pulverized. Metal shrapnel everywhere. There's no saving it. These aren't repairs. These are full replacements. And here's what makes it even more maddening. GM knows exactly how to prevent this. The same V8 architecture, built for the Corvette, uses tighter machining tolerances and higher quality control. Those engines are rock solid. So why the difference? According to engineer Sarah Thompson, this isn't a technology problem, it's a cost-cutting choice. GM cut machining precision on truck engines to save money, knowing most failures would show up after warranty. That gamble is costing more than just money. NHTSA records already list dozens of accidents tied to sudden GM engine failures. Some caused injuries, all caused terror. Jennifer Martinez from San Antonio lived it. My 2022 Tahoe just died on the interstate with my kids in the back. 1 minute we're driving, the next we're coasting with no power while cars swerved around us. I've never been more scared in my life. For GM, these are statistics. For families, they're nightmares. But here's the real bombshell. Independent analysts have already found the same. Engine issues in vehicles outside the recall list. Consumer advocate Michael Chin has tracked more than 300 confirmed failures in other GM models with related engines. His conclusion? This isn't an isolated run of bad parts. This is systemic. GM is minimizing the recall scope to contain costs, while millions of other vehicles may be at risk, and the legal system is catching up. Attorneys are calling GM's recall a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Lawsuits are piling up, demanding engine replacements or buybacks. If courts rule like they did in 2022, GM could face billions more in penalties not to mention a reputation collapse. Dealers are stuck in the middle too. Service departments are overwhelmed. New sales are collapsing. One dealer told us bluntly, customers don't care if it's Detroit's fault or ours. Their trucks are failing, and the fix isn't fixing anything. It's destroying trust we've built for decades. And inside GM itself, whistleblowers describe growing tension. Engineers who demanded real fixes clashed with executives focused on keeping quarterly profits and bonuses intact. Some managers have already walked out rather than oversee what they see as a fraudulent recall. Meanwhile, competitors are circling. Ford, Ram, Toyota, they've all rolled out special incentives targeting GM truck owners, hammering home reliability in their marketing. With electric trucks on the rise and buyers already nervous, your truck is supposed to be the one thing in life you can count on. The machine that gets you to work, hauls your gear, and protects your family. But General Motors just shattered that promise for nearly 1 million Americans. That rumbling V8 under your hood. It might be a ticking time bomb. This February, GM was forced to recall over 800,000 vehicles. Silverados, Sierras, Tahoe, and Suburbans built between 2021 and 2024. Not because they wanted to, because federal regulators finally caught what they've been hiding for years. These engines can fail without warning. Not gradually, not with check engine lights or strange noises giving you time to pull over. They seize completely while you're driving 70 miles per hour with your family on board. Imagine it. You're merging onto the highway, an 18-wheeler bearing down behind you. When suddenly your $27,000 truck becomes a 7,500 pounds paperweight, no power, no warning, nothing but momentum carrying you into traffic as the steering goes stiff and the brakes barely respond. This isn't a minor inconvenience. This is life and death. And GM's response, pour in different oil and slap on a new cap. But here's what makes this story truly infuriating. Internal documents reveal GM engineers flagged these problems years ago. They knew the exact manufacturing defects causing catastrophic engine failures. They calculated exactly how many trucks would die on highways across America, and they made a cold-blooded decision that will make your blood boil. Rather than fix the fundamental problem, which would cost billions, executives chose a band-aid solution designed to stretch engines just long enough to survive their warranty period. After that, you're on your own when the engine seizes. We've obtained court documents showing GM executives explicitly discussing how to delay failures until after warranties expired, pushing the financial burden from their balance sheet onto American families. But the most shocking part isn't what they did. It's what they're still hiding. While nearly 1 million truck owners worry about their engines failing on the highway, another bombshell is about to drop that could make this recall look tiny by comparison. A design flaw so fundamental that it threatens to undermine GM's entire truck lineup for years to come. Why would a company as established as General Motors gamble with the lives of its most loyal customers? And more importantly, how deep does this deception really go? The answer starts with money. Billions of dollars in potential warranty claims that would devastate quarterly earnings reports and executive bonuses if the full extent of engine problems were addressed properly. When we analyzed GM's financial statements, a disturbing pattern emerged. In 2022, the company set aside approximately $2.7 billion for warranty reserves, money specifically earmarked to cover potential repairs. This represented only 4% of their annual revenue, well below industry averages for manufacturers experiencing widespread mechanical issues. Financial analyst Rebecca Morrison explains what this means. These reserve numbers tell us GM was either completely blind to the scope of their engine problems, which is unlikely given internal documents, or they were deliberately underestimating future warranty costs to maintain profit margins and stock prices. The math is brutal. A proper engine replacement costs between $7,000 and $12,000. Multiply that by nearly 900,000 affected vehicles, and you're looking at potential liabilities exceeding $7 billion, enough to wipe out an entire year's profit. Instead, GM's fixed cost pennies per vehicle, different oil, a new cap, a software update. Total cost, less than $50 per truck. Former GM powertrain engineer Thomas Wilson explains the cynical calculation. The oil viscosity change isn't designed to fix anything. It's designed to add just enough lubrication to delay catastrophic failure. Maybe not for the life of the vehicle, but long enough to get past the 60,000 miles powertrain warranty. After that, it becomes the owner's problem, not GM's. Court documents from ongoing class action. Lawsuits revealed that this approach isn't new for GM. The company lost a major lawsuit over oil consumption issues in earlier engines. Internal memos showed executives had been warned about defective piston rings, but chose cheaper solutions that would push failures beyond warranty periods. The jury saw through the deception, awarding hundreds of millions in damages. Yet just 3 years later, GM is using the same playbook with even higher stakes. But the financial calculation is just the beginning. The deeper we dig into this recall, the more disturbing the pattern becomes. The engines failing are GM's 5.3L and 6.2L V8 South, power plants marketed as the pinnacle of American engineering. Trucks with these engines often command premiums of $5,000 or more over there. V6 counterparts with advertising that promises legendary Chevrolet small block reliability. The reality couldn't be more different. These engines contain microscopic machining flaws in critical components, crankshafts, and connecting rods. Manufactured at GM St. Catharines plant in Ontario between 2021 and 2024. These flaws are invisible to the naked eye, but catastrophic in operation. When metal surfaces that should be perfectly smooth contain microscopic imperfections, the thin film of oil separating them breaks down. Metal touches metal. Friction creates heat, bearings fail, and engine seize without warning. Mike Rodriguez, master technician at an independent repair shop in Texas, describes what he's seeing. When we tear down these failed engines, the damage is devastating. Connecting rods fused to crankshafts, bearing material completely disintegrated. Metal shards throughout the oil system. There's no fixing this. It's complete replacement territory. What makes this situation particularly gling is that GM knows exactly how to build engines that don't fail this way. The exact same V8 architecture used in the Corvette with proper machining tolerances and quality. Control has proven exceptionally reliable, even under extreme conditions. This isn't a technology limitation, explains automotive engineer Sarah Thompson. It's purely a cost-cutting decision. GM deliberately reduced machining, precision, and quality control on truck engines to save money, gambling that most failures would happen after warranty expired. The human cost of this gamble is immeasurable. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration records document dozens of accidents directly attributed to sudden engine failures. Some involved injuries. All involved terror, as drivers suddenly lost power in traffic. Jennifer Martinez from San Antonio described her experience. My 2022 Tahoe shut down on the interstate with my children in the back. One minute we were driving normally, the next we were coasting with no power, trying to navigate across 3 lanes to reach the shoulder while cars swerved around us. It was the most terrifying moment of my life. For GM, these stories are statistics. For families, they're life-filtering traumas. But the truly alarming part of this story is that we're only seeing the beginning of what could become the largest automotive recall in American history. The current recall affects specific V8-equipped trucks and SUVs built during a 3-year window. But independent analysis of failure data suggests the problem extends far beyond the vehicles currently covered. Consumer advocate Michael Chin has been tracking engine failure reports across multiple GM platforms. The patterns we're seeing suggest this isn't limited to trucks built at one plant during one time period. The same fundamental design and manufacturing issues appear in vehicles currently excluded from the recall, suggesting GM is trying to minimize the scope rather than address the full extent of the problem. His organization has documented over 300 engine failures in GM vehicles not covered by the current recall. Vehicles with identical or closely related powertrains manufactured at different facilities or during different time periods. This raises the disturbing possibility that millions more GM vehicles could be at risk of sudden failure. With owners currently unaware of the danger lurking under their hoods, the legal landscape is equally concerning. While GM has issued the recall, their remedy falls far short of what most experts consider appropriate for a safety defect of this magnitude. Attorney Robert Williams specializes in automotive defect litigation. Changing oil weight and replacing a cap is not a proper remedy for catastrophic engine failure. This is like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. the underlying defect remains. GM should be replacing these engines, or at minimum, the defective components. Williams notes that class action lawsuits are already moving forward in multiple states, with plaintiffs seeking proper repairs, compensation for diminished value, and in some cases, complete vehicle buybacks. The financial implications for GM could be staggering. If courts rule that their current recall remedy is insufficient, as they did in previous oil consumption cases, the company could face billions in additional liabilities, not to mention reputational damage that could last for years. For truck owners, the situation creates an impossible dilemma. Following GM's recall procedure provides no guarantee against future failure. Selling affected vehicles means taking a massive depreciation hit as the market has already adjusted values downward by 15 to 20% for recalled models, and continuing to drive these trucks means accepting a daily risk of catastrophic failure. Mark Johnson, who uses his 2022 Sierra for his construction business in Michigan, describes the predicament. "This truck is my livelihood. I still owe $40,000 on it. I can't afford to replace it, can't sell it without taking a bath, and can't trust it not to leave me stranded."